Hey there, welcome back to my channel, LeeBeeBuilds. My name is Aaliyah, and today I'm back with another speed build. If you're new here, I am mainly a builder in The Sims 4, so that is the type of content you can expect from my channel. So today I have done a little bit of a cottage, lakeside kind of cabin, all those words. I think I still haven't decided what I'm gonna name it. I'm thinking lakeside cottage though. That's probably what I will go with, and that's probably what you would have seen in the thumbnail. But that's kind of what I tackled today, and my inspiration for this build came from when I went on a canoe trip in August, end of August. It was basically the only activity you could do was go somewhere outdoors, like camping or something, which is great because I love camping. So me and my boyfriend went on a little bit of a canoe trip, and it was really fun. It was hard. It was long days of paddling, but on the larger lakes that we went on, there were a lot of cottages, and so these cottages are the inspiration or what made me want to do this build, because a lot of them were gorgeous. They were very rustic, I will say, because they all had to cart in materials by boat because there's no road access. They're all like very secluded, and so you had to boat all of your materials in, and so they weren't very elaborate. So I'm kind of like melding this sort of secluded type cottage and melding it with a more Muskoka style vibe. If you know what Muskoka is, it's in a kind of mid-Ontario. People always call it Northern Ontario, but it's not really northern. In my opinion, there's far more Ontario above that, but it's kind of in the middle of Ontario, and it has gorgeous houses. A lot of people that live there are quite wealthy, and so that they can afford very elaborate, amazing cottages. And so this one, I'm kind of taking those two ideas and melding them together, making a more rustic but also a more modern kind of cottage. So this cottage, the reason why I say it's more modern is because there's an entire wall of windows, and that is something that you wouldn't find on the lake that I was canoeing on, because they wouldn't take the time and money to cart in huge windows like that. That would take up an entire wall. It's far easier just to use lumber for the wall and have much smaller basic windows that probably wouldn't break during your travels from the shore to your cottage spot. So yeah, that's why I'm saying it's a little bit of a meld, is because it's still kind of rustic, but it has those modern touches. But the main thing I wanted from this build was the red roof. So you would have already seen me place that on, and the red metal roof was something I saw many times on that canoe trip. A lot of the cottages had this beautiful red metal roof, and if you don't know this, red is like the complementary, am I getting that the right word? Complementary color to green. And so because you're in a forest filled with trees which are, surprise, green, then you would know that red would really contrast. Think about Christmas, for example. Red and green are the colors of Christmas because they are opposing to each other, and so they are really pleasing to the eye. Same with orange and blue and yellow and purple. Yes. So those are all like complementary colors to each other because they're opposite, but they look good together. So yeah, that's why I wanted to use the red roof, is because I thought it was very fitting, because all of these other cottages use those red roofs because it really stands out against those green trees. And also it would look really nice in the fall as well, which is the time in which I am building this build. It's fall now in my life, but I also am building in the fall season in terms of the game as well. Just because I wanted to do a little more fall content, but this isn't a autumnal build per se. I feel like I've seen so many of those on YouTube, and I will probably do one before Snowy Escape comes out. We'll see. Don't hold me to it, but basically, my inspiration was from all these other builds that other creators have done in their like autumnal builds, but I didn't feel like doing an autumnal build. How many times can I say that word? Holy! But yeah, so I didn't do that. But my inspiration for this build and why I did this build came from those ideas. And so yeah. It's definitely just like a cottage that happens to be during the fall time. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. That just happens to be the season I built in. So it's not a fall build at all. Even on the inside you can see I used a lot of blues and not oranges, so it's not like fall colors. I used blues for a reason though. I used blue because when you go to the, like people decorate their cottages with blue. That's just something I've noticed. And people who have cottages that, like maybe their homes aren't in cottage country, like they're down in the city or whatever, and you go into their homes, they might have a lot of blue accents in there because they're trying to bring that idea of the lake home with them. And I noticed this with a few people that I know who own cottages. They have a lot of blue in their homes and as well as in pictures on their Instagram of their cottages. So I definitely made sure to use a lot of blue in this. You can see it throughout the kitchen with the lighting, the stove even, and some other little clutter items. And then the rug I end up choosing for the living space is also blue. And that's just to try to bring the lake from outside and bring it inside. And if you're wondering, the lot I am building on is in Windenburg. I think Windenburg is first of all, it's my favorite world. I love building in it because I love doing more like, not cottage type builds, but ones that are surrounded by trees, because that is what I like. I would love, in a perfect world, to have a house that has a big enough lot for plenty of trees and maybe like a little walking space. That's in a perfect world, probably not a realistic world, but that's all I'm saying on that. So yeah, that's why I love this world, is because I think it really fits with my style in terms of the surrounding area. And so this build here is on the lot Cottage AMC in the top left neighborhood that I do not know the name of. But it's the one that has like, I think it's an estate or something up in the top as well. When you first load in the game, there is a family that lives on this lot, so it won't show up as Cottage MC, it'll show up as some family, but I don't remember their names at all. But at least that's what it showed up for me, because this is a new save for me, and I moved them out. I was like, get out of here, and I demolished their home and built this one. And I'm really happy with this build. I think it's really, really cute. I think the curb appeal is really great. And that being said, a lot of the times I think curb appeal looks a lot better if you use a lot more different materials and like wallpapers on the outside. But even though I used only one single wallpaper on the outside and then the same one on the inside but without the stone, I think it still looked really good. That's just my opinion. Like, I think because it fits the style I was going for, it ended up still looking really nice in terms of curb appeal. And that probably has to do with the fact that the Seasons wallpaper, the wooden wallpaper, has like the stone along the bottom, and the stone, I guess, adds to that little bit of dimension there. And then I also put columns around as well to bring it a little more depth, I guess. And also the windows on the one side covering the entire wall kind of mix it up a little bit as well. And just because I absolutely love the windows from the Moschino stuff pack, I use those for the bedrooms as well as at the very, very top of the big wall of windows, I put the one up there as well, just because I didn't have like triangular windows to kind of finish off the peak up there. Right now I am working on the little patio outside. It's not a very large patio just because most of this lot was taken up with all of the rocks, and the rocks are there for a reason, because I was trying to mimic the Muskoka, Northern Ontario vibe. And if you don't know, this is in like the Canadian Shield, and that's just like a environment, I guess. And it's literally just a bunch of rock. Like, a bunch of rock. Maybe I'll throw up a picture just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. And so people build their cottages on these like rocks and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of why I did that. But that means that the actual porch is a lot smaller and there's not necessarily a backyard. Because I didn't give them a backyard, one, because the house was perfectly fitting to the lot, but also your backyard is the lake right there. On this lot, it's perfect. They're surrounded by the lake, like in a U shape. And so there's plenty of grass space all around it that you can clearly see in this video that there's plenty of space around. So I wasn't like upset by not giving them a backyard space, because their backyard space is the world around them. And yeah, I'm just right now doing some more landscaping, and like I said, it's mostly rock, but I still found spaces for different plants and trees. Just because there's rock doesn't mean that there won't be plants growing on the rock, because there's going to be soil mixed in with it too. And you'll be surprised what can grow and where it can grow. Sometimes I'll see a tree when I go up north and I'm like, how on earth are you growing there? You're literally on a rock. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, basically I just kind of did basic landscaping with a few different bushes here and there just to fill it up and make it look kind of blended into the ground, just because even though I surrounded the house with rock, the rest of the world isn't all rock. And so I had to kind of make it look somewhat blended in. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do. And then, so this house or cottage has 2 main bedrooms on the main floor, and then up that ladder that you see, it goes to a loft area with 2 beds for like some kids, and it's like their hangout area as well. And so stick around to the end of the video for the little kids hangout loft area, because it is my favorite part of the build and it just happens to be at the very end of the video, so stick around for that. But here we are in the first little bedroom here, and this is what I imagine like guest bedroom, because my imagination for this family is that it was like 2 parents and 2 kids, like a very nuclear family probably. Maybe not necessarily gender roles, like I'm sure that it's fine if there's 2 moms or 2 dads, like that's fine, but I'm just thinking in terms of number of people in the family. I was thinking 4, which is typical to the nuclear family. So this bedroom is, I imagine, a spare bedroom, and I kind of gave a little bit of story to why they own the cottage, how they can afford the cottage, and why they have just a guest bedroom and not just like another space for someone to live. And so I imagine that either one of the parents is a writer and they are spending their time up at the cottage writing, getting inspiration away from the city. Like maybe they have like a condo in like the middle of the city, and then they also have this cottage that's more rustic, and they come up here like on the weekends every summer, or for the entire summer even, maybe. Like, I don't know, probably the whole summer. That's what I would imagine. They like, maybe the other parent will have to go back and forth a few times because maybe their job isn't like more able to be in a remote setting. But as a writer, I'm sure unless they have a meeting or something about a book, they can do it very remote, and that this place would give a lot of inspiration and just having a relaxing space to work in that is in a city, and that's what this is. But I made sure that the little office desk area, so there is a computer in a rustic cottage. Yes, there's a computer. Whoa. It's a functional home in The Sims. So you can definitely use this and not treat it as a cottage for sure if you were to download this off the gallery. But I put the office area in that spare bedroom because I imagine that the other parent, whoever it is like, okay, I'm fine with you writing, and I know you're gonna stay up all night writing sometimes because you'll get in the mood, you'll have flow and you don't want it to end. You just want to keep going until you're like too exhausted to go on. And because of that, they were like, we are putting this office in the spare bedroom so that you can close the door, and that way the rest of us can sleep without hearing the clickety clack all night. And so that's why all of the books and stuff are all either in the common space or in the spare bedroom, but there's absolutely no bookshelves in the master bedroom because the other parent is like, this is our getaway from all of your writing stuff. You can read a book like just for fun have it on the nightside table, and then you can read it before you go to bed. But she didn't want it, or they didn't want it to be like the place where their significant other spends all their time writing. But as you can see, we are actually up in that loft space now. I moved the PlayStation, or I don't know why I said PlayStation, but the gaming console from downstairs, I moved it upstairs because I figured that the kids nowadays, when they go to the cottage, they're like, is there Wi-Fi? It's their Wi-Fi. And then so I figured that they'll have a little TV with a little gaming console, and they have music and headphones, and they have their little scouting things. I figured that that's something fun to do while you're on vacation. And also scouting is probably pretty easy when you're out in the wilderness, let's just say. It's probably easy to get your badges. Is that what you collect? I don't know. I was Girl Guide, not a scout, so I don't know. But anyways, this is the loft space that I had mentioned, but we are coming up to the end of the video now, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm loving the outcome of this, so I hope you do too. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for supporting me and watching my video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!